TBTL Week in Review. Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 3 of TBTL's Week in Review. You know what I'm doing with my eyes right now is I realize I always look a little sleepy and a little bit stoned when I'm doing these videos. I'm neither sleepy nor stoned, so I'm trying to make my eyes bigger for y'all. How is this, Luke? Is this making everybody comfortable?
No, it's like telling me that you come in peace. It makes me want to hug you, protect you. You're like a little baby. It's so beautiful. Now, if I'm making a kind of a weird face or looking strange on this video, it's because on my screen here, I have some schmutz, and it looks like I have a big smudge of like coal on my forehead because, of course, I'm staring at myself, Andrew.
Yeah.
Because I'm very, very vain, and I keep looking at myself, and I keep trying to wipe my actual forehead, which is not the problem. The problem is it's on the screen.
It's on the screen. Now it's gone. Here, let me get that for you.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
We understand how videos work.
Perfect. Right. While I'm choking, you have a blemish on your forehead. I got cat hair in my glasses. My eyes are looking in the wrong place. I think we should probably just get our guest on the line here.
That's one of the problems about this whole video thing. You know, Andrew, to compete in the modern pod world, we've got to create more video content. But I know that you'll occasionally catch a little cough, and when we're doing just the audio, you can mute yourself. You can cut it out. We can't do that here. I also just finished my jog, so I had to bring my dabbing rag because I'm sweating profusely still. I'm gonna look like Rudy Giuliani at the Four Seasons landscaping. All the topic in my hair is gonna be running down the sides of my face. This is I would put this idea at questionable.
Do you, I mean, I know you don't remember it, you weren't around then, but you hear about the stories of the earliest days of television. Of course, radio was where all the stars were, right? That was all the glitz and glamour. They were radio stars. And then television came along, and you had the few people who tried to do the crossover from radio to television, and it just didn't work. That's us, basically. We should not be playing in this space at all. But you know who should be is our guest today and our boss, I think, TBTL employee.
Wow, he's advanced quickly from being employee numero uno to being our direct supervisor, Jon Sklaroff.
Hello, there guys. He is, John. Hello.
Hey, buddy. Great to be here. Love it, love it, love it.
Do we need to, here on the, third time we've done this, explain what the idea of this is? Or do people, Andrew, get it because they've received it in their inbox and it's called Week in Review? Is that pretty self-explanatory?
I think so. So we're doing this for folks who donated at a certain level during the TBTL-a-thon very generously. Thank you all so much for donating. And what the plan is here is for us to invite various guests on connected to the show in some way and discuss things that stood out to them that they'd like to discuss with us in the podcast at some point earlier this week. Now, sometimes it'll be you and me, Luke. So far it has been, but I do want to mention that we're going to be taking a little break here, you and I, for the summer games in a couple of weeks, and I believe we're going to be leaving this little video experiment in the hands of one Jon Sklaroff in the middle of the screen. Hello, John.
Hello. Yeah, that's not at all terrifying. It's going to go great. It's going to go great.
Hey, listen, honestly, if there's no Week in Review for a week or two, everybody, it's just because we're figuring things out, but everything is fine. And whatever you do, John, it'll be great.
No, it's going to be a lot
really
of fun.
Set the bar low for John. You already John went from it's a little bit terrifying to Andrew being like, you know what, don't bother.
Just take the week off. Just don't do it.
I've been thinking about it. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on you. I want you to stick around.
No, it's not a lot of pressure. I'm really
John, let me just tell you my secret to making videos for TBTL and for the other various things that I do from home. When in doubt, stick your dogs in the video. And I don't mean your feet. I mean, point the camera at your adorable golden retrievers and you'll get the clicks. You'll get the open rate.
That's how we get that's how we go viral with a
particularly
video. Yeah.
And I don't want to be glib, but the particularly if you have any footage of the dog who sits in a high chair to eat, that's content gold. And again, I don't say that to be dismissive of the impact on that dog's life or you and your wives, but that would definitely get some clicks.
Yeah, maybe I'll throw something in the Instagram stories or something and be like, hey, for the people that have Week in Review, here's a little preview. Yeah, no, it's really exciting, and I'm sure it'll go great. I think you guys have been doing an awesome job so far with the guests you've had, Phyllis, and then our friends in the Teal House, right?
Yes.
And so it's been a lot of fun watching these and now being here, and I think I'll keep going good. So can I jump right into this into the Week in Review? Because you said that, Luke. One of the things I think when we first were talking about this Week in Review segment was maybe this be an opportunity for people to want to throw their phones to like make a correction. Yes. And you said the other day, Luke, I think it was maybe Wednesday show or Thursday show that I had 11 golden retrievers. I do want to say it's only 3, which is still an absurd amount of dogs. And my in-laws have 2, and my brother-in-law has 1. So when we get them all together, 6.
Okay.
Which is absurd. Which is absurd.
I would just say,
but not 11.
Don't feed them after midnight.
Right.
You will wake
Get them
up.
wet.
You will wake up with 11.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. For
It's
the,
okay if
for
you
the
get them wet;
clarification.
they're just going to smell really bad after you get them wet. Yeah.
We're at the river this weekend, and they are going to be stinky.
Yes.
Insert drop.
Oh my God, he admitted.
But
Okay.
dog stuff aside, so yeah,
Right,
so there
clarification.
a couple of things that did. Thank you. That stuck out to me this week. Again, the dates, which day this all aired, was blurry. But you guys were talking about the road, the fresh tar being paved at your
Chip
place.
sealing.
Yeah, and Andrew said the phrase, "I have a sense memory." Like you could smell the tar, like in rural Ohio where you kind of grew up, Andrew. And that to me, like as soon as, not when Luke first started talking about it, but when you said that phrase, it invoked a sense memory in me, because we had a family cabin a few hours from where I grew up. And I remember like when we were in those every summer, like they would kind of do that same process. And I could smell that tar, but not until you said it, Andrew.
Mhm.
And so I was just wondering, like, to hear you say that, like, that's not a phenomenon I experience often, a sense memory thing. I know it's something that happens to people. Is that something that you experience a lot, Andrew, or Luke? Is that something you get? Because like as soon as you said, I'm like, oh, I smell it too. But that's not something I normally experience. Is that something that's common for you?
For me, yes. And as Genevieve puts it, nostalgia is my drug of choice, which is interesting because there are a lot of drugs out there.
Drugs
right?
are also your drugs of choice.
Drugs are also my drugs of choice. It comes, even the older I get, maybe it's even more pronounced, but certainly certain smells. Like I burn incense in my basement here because generally I'm a cool guy. I also have a mattress on the floor, and
Do you burn that Nag Champa?
I sometimes do. Yeah, that's the stuff in the blue box. But like, there was a time when I was in like a junior high or high school that I was spending a lot of time at my friend Tony's house, and he had like a whole studio. Who's a musician and an artist, and he had a whole studio, and he was just like the coolest guy to me, and we were good friends. And he would burn a combination of vanilla and strawberry incense. Now, I asked him about this recently, and he doesn't remember that, so maybe he just did it once, but it really stuck with me. So I went home, and for a while, I was burning 2 incense sticks, strawberry and vanilla. I had not burnt that in forever, and then I found a store. I stumbled on some store in my neighborhood that sells that old school kind of incense, and I bought those 2 flavors, and I lit them the other night, and it was like I was transported. Like, because incense is the type of thing you light, then you forget about it, and then you walk back into the room and you're just like, oh my God, where's Tony's drum kit? So I think I'm especially obsessed with that sort of sense memory stuff.
But I also think that they have found scientifically that smell is one of the things that they think may trigger deja vu, because it's a very it really will transport you. And in fact, speaking of incense, the only reason, Andrew, that I had that term Nag Champa, if that's how you say it off the top of my head, is because about a week ago, Becca and I were in a record store in Portland. I was buying a present for her brother, who has a lot of vinyl and DJs things. Bought him Handsome Boy Modeling School, by the way.
Oh, nice. I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Good pick.
Yeah, because he's also about my age and is very into all the music that I was into. So, but it happened to be the day that this record store in Portland called Music Millennium. We did not know this, but it was they were having their customer appreciation day. So we were looking at like 4. We're kind of on a time crunch. We're trying to go to this birthday party. We're looking at 4 different record stores. I'm like, I don't know, this one seems good. We get there. There's people milling about. There must have been 3,000 people at this record store.
Whoa.
That I think the capacity is like 4 people. I think it normally has 4 people in it. Today it had about, I don't know, 1,000, if I'm being real. They were everywhere. You couldn't get through the aisles. The lines were going crazy. Like, this is not set up for this many people. And I thought, if you really want to appreciate the customers, don't have them all come on the same day. But that was just me being a grump. But
it should be customer appreciation day, where you just appreciate one customer at a time.
Each day of the year, one customer gets to come appreciate Music Millennium. But we were standing in line for so long because this thing was it was overwhelming the systems there, that I was looking at this whole wall of like incense by the register, and I pulled some of that stuff out and was smelling it, and I was like, this, like you said, Andrew, it immediately took me, and I think that Nag Chomp is kind of like the most, would you say that's sort of the most popular incense of that kind? That's
I
just kind
think
of the
so. I want to make
go-to.
sure. Yeah,
I
I
might
just
be
looked
saying
it
it
up. Yeah.
wrong. I might
No,
be.
you're right. The little blue boxes, though, that's the
Yeah.
most easily attainable incense in the modern world, I would say.
Exactly. And I just took it out standing in line and took a whiff of it. And like you were saying, Andrew, I was immediately like, I don't know, 17, 18 years old, trying to figure out who I was in the world. Am I a hippie? I want to be alternative. I want to be different than everyone else. But am I like, what is my lane in life going to be? And let me try this on, because that would have been the only time in my life when I was actively burning incense, and it would have been that incense. So I'm sort of, I think I'm prone to the same stuff as far as particularly like a smell like that really takes you back.
John, it'll be interesting to hear if it, like, as you get older, if it affects you more. Like, again, I was always a nostalgic person, but I also have 10 years on you. So, like, I don't think I'm going through a midlife crisis, but if I were, this would be the time. So I do wonder if, like, maybe 10 years from now, you start to feel more connections to things from your past. Or maybe you just are unfeeling.
I don't I have no soul. I just wasn't sure if it was like something where, I don't know if we needed a psychologist on the line, if it's like maybe certain people are impacted by it more. Because again, hearing you say that, I'm like, I smell the tar, and it's not something I
what
get.
About,
so
what is it called? Pitchfork? Do you get pitchfork? I could be saying that wrong. That's the smell of when it rains for the first time in a long time, and you get that real earthy kind of like the concrete getting wet when it's had a lot of dust settling over it. I think that's called, or pictophore maybe, or something. Anyway, that's a biggie for me. Do you get that one, John?
I mean, I know exactly what, now as you're saying, like, I actually can kind of, it doesn't hit me the way the tar thing hit me, but I can like I can kind of like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I taste that one. That one, my mouth, I'm not kidding. Like, that smell for me almost is like a dusty taste in my mouth is my association with that smell of the first rain in a long time.
That's pretty wild. No, this is fascinating. Again, I don't know if it's like a me thing.
No, you have much to learn from us, Andrew. We're Andrew and I are both empaths. And we've brought you on board to teach you the way. So
great. And next year's Thon, all crystals. That's what we're doing.
Yes. I can feel their energy.
I was Luke, you were talking about the deals you were getting on seltzers this week, and this really struck me as this could be like one of those generational things. I know we're not that far apart in age from you guys, but you guys are like very much like Gen X, and I'm like old millennial, and so. With seltzers, I'm very particular. Like, I know it's very basic. White guy, I love a LaCroix. Like, give me all, and lots of flavors. But I was hearing you talk about the deals you're getting, Luke, and you were mentioning like bubbly, like the BUBLY, like that brand. I know you were drinking that one for the Thon. But you also mentioned like Polar and stuff. This is like, is this, what I'm trying to figure out is this a generational thing where it's like you'll just drink a bubbly water or seltzer, it doesn't matter to you if it's carbonated flavored water, or is that a Luke thing? Because like I feel like my generation's like, you love your LaCroix or you love your Polar, or you like, it's very territorial. I could be speaking out of pocket here. I think I'm right. And so I was just wondering, like, people have their favorite beer. You're always going to drink your favorite beer, but like, seltzer to me is that same way, but it doesn't seem to be that way for you. Is that
no? I think I'm pretty sort of non-denial. I'm pan seltzer. Wayne Brady recently came out as pansexual. I'm coming out this week as I'll embrace any seltzer of any kind. I'm sapio seltzer. I'm attracted to the seltzer. I don't care what kind of can it's in.
You don't care about the label.
No. Yeah. I care about the flavor a lot, though, because there are flavors that taste to me. Anytime that like LaCroix integrates pineapple, if you see pineapple as one of the flavors, it tastes like when you get sunscreen in your mouth. Like when you put on a bunch at the beach, but then you sweat and then it's running into your mouth, that very distinct taste of sunscreen. That's what
like coconut and pineapple combined, especially, probably.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, it's probably more coconut than pineapple. But like the other day, I was doing something with Becca, and I opened a can of, just grabbed some at random, and I was like, oh, this is the one that tastes like sunscreen to me. As far as brands go, though, you're right, John. I'm not overly loyal to any of them, as long as the flavor, and the flavors I like are lime. I like the there's some kind of like like raspberry lime combo that Polar does. As long as the flavor is something that I'm into, I don't really care who makes it, because well, I was going to say they taste similar to me, but actually, I mean, I mentioned this on the show this week. Waterloo, the brand Waterloo, they have a lime.
Napoleon's favorite brand.
That's exactly right. And I'll say the thing I always say about the song Waterloo by ABBA, which is, I feel like that's a really unlikely thing for an international pop hit. Like, you have to know a little bit about history, Napoleonic history. Like, I think it's just because the word Waterloo rhymed with something else in the song that they wanted to sing about. Because it's like my relationship with you was when I was massacred. It was when not massacred, but it's where I suffered my worst military defeat and was later deposed to the Isle of Elba. Like, weird for a Swedish band to put that in their music. But anyway, back to the Waterloo. You guys are both like, we actually hope that his video freezes up again.
We don't have time to get into
this.
it. I disagree with you, though. I think Waterloo is just a common expression. You know, like, well, that was, boy, TBTL, when they went independent, that was really their Waterloo.
I mean, Andrew, my friend, next time you're on the E-line, I ask you to just do a survey. Ask 20 people in Seattle, what's the significance of Waterloo? I maybe I just have a low opinion of the common man, but like, I don't know. I mean, I definitely think the folks that are watching us right now would know what it is, and a lot of people in our circle of friends would know. But I wonder if, like, the regular American person who's just walking down the street, I wonder what the percentage would be. And again, it might be higher than I'm guessing.
Is that the next like iteration of TBTL video where we do like a man on the street kind of thing, and we just go around asking people random questions, this being the first one? Tell me about Waterloo. It was just a microphone.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, I actually think when I'm in that moment, I'm pretty adept at that stuff. And I think you are as well, Andrew. And I think it's also our least favorite way to interact with the public ever. Like, it gives me such agita when I'm doing a CBS thing. In fact, it just happened when I was in LA a few weeks ago, and we're doing the story about the Hollywood sign, and the producer, who, by the way, did just call me during this recording to tell me that we have an October air date. He was like, we get done interviewing the guest, and then he's like, oh, there's some tourists. Let's go talk to them. And then I'm like, I could just feel my armpit start to dampen up. Like, I got to go over there, and I got to ask them what they're excited about looking at the Hollywood sign. Like,
what were their thoughts on Waterloo?
They were like, oh, you mean where Napoleon suffered a military defeat that was the beginning of the end for him? Sure. Oh, the ABBA song that we love. Yeah, they had complete and total encyclopedic knowledge.
They were professors, though. We're running a little bit. We're running a little bit long here on time, so I want to maybe start to wrap things up a little bit, John. Unless you had something really burning up your list there, I wanted to ask you if maybe you could send us out with a quick coin update. You've been sending me and Luke great photos and videos, and you posted an amazing photo earlier this week to Instagram of all the coins and certificates. How's it going?
It's going great. Legitimately.
Wait, did you freeze up? I think John's video froze there for about 4 seconds.
No, what happened is I underestimated how long it would take for me to package these things. I'm about half. I have, as of about midnight last night, I have about 600 coins ready to go to the post office. But just about halfway there, almost halfway there. So I was hoping to get them to the post office today. I'm expecting Monday, Tuesday at the latest, they'll be at the post office, which means people should still start getting them by the end of next week, which was the goal, or the week after. So they'll start, depending on where, in the country people are. International obviously take a little bit longer, but yeah, no, it's going really great.
It's time consuming, right? It seems like you set up an assembly line, you watch some TV, you get through it.
It's exactly it.
But it's still like when we signed those postcards, and I don't know how many those were, a couple, maybe 2,000. It's shocking how long it takes to do something repetitive like that. So thank you for doing that, John. And also,
of course.
I mean, the certificate of authenticity.
Luke, your audio's breaking up kind of bad here, just so you know. I think it's an internet thing. I hate to cut you off, but it's a little bit tough. So anyway,
can you see me waving goodbye?
We can see you waving, but probably going to turn down your volume here. John, thank you for joining us.
Yes,
Luke, thank you for the kisses. I could always use some more kisses. And again, thank you to everybody who donated during the thon. Those coins will be on their way soon. And John, I think we're going to next week we'll be doing a Hey Dummies again, I believe, with you next week before we hand the reins over to you for the
review.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
Hey, dummies.
Oh yeah, the weekend review. It's all video.
I take offense to be calling a dummy. No, I'm just
anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll get it down after a few years of doing this.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
exactly. But
by episode 8,000.
Everybody join us again here at this very channel for next week's weekend review, because we have a special guest who will be joining us, who I will leave it there, but it's somebody who's very close to the show, but I believe has never been on the show or the videos before, so stay tuned for that. Jon, thank you again.
Thank you everyone for supporting the show.
We'll all talk to you again next week, and probably on Monday. Bye.